because by who you are, you inspire other people, and this creates a chain effect. Like if you're gonna smile at someone, it's kind of hard not to smile back. And the people that will smile back will keep that smile, and then they will share the smile with other person. And this is literally a metaphor for being who you truly are. Because hello everybody, welcome to another video. I have a new background. How do you like it? It's like fairy and stuff. Anyways, with that said, we're gonna talk about how you can never be too much today and tomorrow and for the rest of your life. We're gonna set and understand where this idea of being too much, where did it even come from? Because who said that you're too much? And who even has the privilege to judge whether you're too much or not? And where is the meter and the whole scale of muchness? I've never seen it. Definitely, there is a certain etiquette to each, let's say, types of social circles. Definitely, you're not gonna be acting the same way around your family as you're acting around your boss. No. However, your muchness, as I've heard in a reel recently from a lady that's just super, it was like she was adorable. I'm gonna put her reel here because this whole video is inspired by this reel. So all the credit to her. And I realized like, oh yeah, yes, there is no limited amount of muchness that would be too extra, that would be ever too much. Because the muchness, as she refers to it, of being extra, of being too much for someone, that's the most precious part about you. That's the uniqueness. That's who you are. And examples of being too much, according to someone: dressing too much, dressing up for every event, wearing heels, that could be too much for someone, taking a book everywhere, like in your hand, just taking it. Some might feel that it's like performative or something. Let it be performative for someone. And by dimming your muchness, by dimming your uniqueness, because muchness equals uniqueness, and it equals being too extra. Because if you love designer clothes, you're just gonna wear it, and for some people it's gonna be too much. If you love this, like Renaissance indoor interior, the design and everything, some people might deem it as too much. And some people will say that this is like too much, this is unnecessary. And I believe that for every ambitious person, this has at least once happened in their lives, that they have toned themselves down or haven't done something even though they really say. And I believe that for every ambitious person, this topic or this situation of toning yourself down on, or of not doing really what you would normally do, if there was no limits, if there would be basically no one around you, no opinion expected, you would be doing it already, or you would do it, anything that you wanted to do. You would start, you would post the video, or you would start to write the book, you would start your fashion blog, or you would just quit your job and travel for 6 months because you can. And why am I actually making this video? Because I feel like this is already, this controlling of not being too much is like a little controlling system in each brain that has been already established, because it's basically the conditioning. And I believe that there is like indirect relationship to the amount of safety you felt as a child versus how much you are of yourself. Meaning that the less safe your environment was when you were raised, and when you were basically until now, the less safe, emotionally safe you felt, the more of this controlling system of hyper analyzing how much of yourself you can be in this room, how how much of your personality you can actually show. These two things, I believe, have a certain relationship and have to do something with each other, because I know that in my case, I haven't really felt super emotionally safe, what I remember, when I was a child. And therefore, I know that I've created so many like little tactics and strategies on how to map out any situation or any social circle that I went to. And then I evaluated how I can be, how much of myself I can show. Because it didn't feel safe to show too much of myself. They probably would support me, but I've seen so many judgments to the people that were truly doing something that was not normal in that time. For example, doing YouTube. For example, I don't know, being a singer or being a performative, being an actor. And as someone being truly observant a lot, I kind of put two plus two together, and I figured that it would be easier to not stand out, to not be on the eyeballs of other people, because that is, or that means that I would be excluded, that I would be seen as someone else, as someone who's not part of the group. And this is something that's truly natural. When we go back to evolution, everyone needs to feel that they're part of a tribe, part of something, part of a family or social circle. And we want to, from our very human needs, we need to belong and we need to be loved. That's our deepest and our most important need. And with that knowing and with this knowledge, it makes sense that this can be a very important reason why it was worth, for example, for me to tweak my personality in certain situations, because I just didn't want to be seen. Because if I was seen and was rejected, well, that would be something. That's a feeling that the brain wants to avoid at all costs. And that's why at that moment, dimming your light, your personality, your uniqueness was worth and was not that painful, as much as painful would be being rejected because of who you truly showed up as. And I mean, it's worth it for an unaware person, because like this you appreciate short-term comfort, because this is a short-term comfort. The fact that you're not being yourself is a long-term discomfort, but for the short-term comfort of being not rejected, it's worth it. But for someone aware who has spent some time alone in their thoughts, journaling, and in introspective, dialogues, I would say, actually, dialogues. For someone like this, it's just like unacceptable. And for me, I was also for a long time unaware. And by unaware, I mean I didn't realize where my ego is, where my ego stands, and where it ends, and how much of this ego was actually bossing me around. And the fact that someone will have an opinion about you, that happens all the time. And even right now, you have an opinion about me, and that's all right. But someone who is not aware, who is very much um, protective of their ego, is trapped, because they just cannot do everything that they want. Um, and that is the sneakiest prison you can create in your head. And like this, it keeps you from reaching your potential, it keeps you from doing what you want daily and to be yourself unapologetically. And I believe that, like, if we have already won the lottery of 400 trillion in 1 to 1, as someone who was born to this earth, I think that, like, This is a topic that should be discussed in schools, in educational system, but I understand that it will never get there. But this is super important to understand what is your ego and to also understand the influence of other people, to understand the conditioning that has a huge influence over us. Because this conditioning equals the control system of your muchness. And back to the fact that you can never be too much. Actually, being too much might mean, according to someone else, might mean that you are on the right path. And I'm not saying to seek haters, but if you do have someone who doesn't like you for what you're doing, that might be also a just a sign that you are becoming unique, you're becoming yourself. And right now, I believe that the uniqueness and the authenticity, that everyone has a different definition about this word, I just feel like it's being who you are and being unapologetically yourself. That would be my definition. And with, of course, respecting the freedom of other people, where your freedom ends, other people or other person's freedom begins. So definitely it all has to be done with respect. When your uniqueness is directed towards a good cause. For example, if you're someone who would just like to, I don't know, share outfits on TikTok with the world, but you're just not doing it because you would be deemed as, I don't know, maybe you can do something very serious on the, simultaneously. We all have a certain conditioning, mental conditioning, and we all need to question it. Really question everything that you've been taught in childhood. Question whether there is really not enough money. Question whether it is really necessary to attend university if all you want to do is DJ. Question whether you have to live in the same country you were born in. Question everything. And traveling can also be your one of your best helpers, because and tools, basically instruments on how to um, expand your perspective. This is how you basically become even more aware of what's possible, what people are doing. When I was traveling, I would be shocked. My first few, trips to a different country was like it was even better than Disneyland. Disneyland is, just made up, but the real lives and the real conversations of random people and of some strangers that I later on became friends with, that is something that really opens your eyes and makes you realize, wow, I can live anywhere I want. If you're not having already base somewhere, if you're not having any responsibilities, you can still pick, and the world is your oyster. And that is also a belief that can be too much for some people. It can be like too, I don't know, free or too performative, but isn't that true actually? And I was raised with belief that, it's best to just finish university, go work a corporate job, and live on, weekends, and to have this kind of cute, comfortable lifestyle, which I'm not against. I really like the idea of it, but I know that I would get pretty depressed doing that, so I chose not to, and I knew that in order to make this choice, I had to question a lot of things. But the result was that I'm feeling, I can't even describe how good this feels to be able to choose your own path and to be able to see and to distinguish what is the conditioning and what is the path that you really want to take. And I think that this is part of your muchness too, because you're gonna be judged for anything, always, by anyone. And so you can, and you might as well just choose whatever you really like, so that the judgment of others will be less loud and it will be worth it. And I want to say that if you would like to do something, or if you're thinking about doing something that speaks from you, that, I don't know, it could be creating accessories for hair, or it could be coming up with a special type of eyeliner, or anything that you really want to do. And you might be thinking, like, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? Or what if I'm just gonna show myself and then got rejected? And that's like, I'd rather not do it, because I can't even imagine how that rejection would feel. Imagine you would be doing something and it wouldn't work out. It's not that serious. You can always come back, you can always start over. You always have another chance. When you're here, when you're alive, when you wake up every day and you feel the breath in your lungs, that means that you can always try in anything that you believe in. If it's with a good cause to other people, if it's for making people feel more confident by creating beautiful clothes, or by, I don't know, talking to a video like this, you always can jump back, and you will always jump back, because you've already watched the video until now. I bet that you are that person that believes in themselves and that is ambitious, but maybe is feeling stuck. And so I want to offer this, that this stuckness might be just a conditioning that just needs to be exposed. And also, if you feel like you want to try something but feel like someone else is doing it better already, that is also a conditioning, and that is also type of prison that is just lowering your muchness and lowering your uniqueness. And just understand that even though that it is in here, it might be the form of, I don't know, paintings. Maybe you want to paint, but there are so many painters in the world, right? But no one is painting like you. And if you really let your crazy ideas put in, maybe you have like a very specific idea of how to paint. Maybe some people wouldn't even call it painting. Maybe it's like throwing colorful stuff dipped into freaking acrylic paint and throwing it on the canvas. Maybe this is the type of painting you would love to do, but maybe it feels too weird. It feels like it's not even painting and people would judge you for it. Well, this is exactly when you want to trust your gut and this idea. Because look at Picasso, let's say. Some people are still thinking that his paintings are like as if a 5-year-old child would paint it or would draw it. I don't think that his paintings are any cheap or sold and seen as low value in the society. You can do it. And if you're gonna fail, the failure is nothing. The failure is just a proof that you've tried. The failure is actually an accomplishment. And if we look at failure like this, you will become unstoppable. And each failure, you will come closer to the success. And at the end of the overall life and of the overall world, it doesn't actually matter where you got successful. But what matters is that you became truly you and who you have become throughout the process. Because by who you are, you inspire other people. And this creates a chain effect. Like if you're gonna smile at someone, it's kind of hard not to smile back. And the people that will smile back will keep that smile, and then they will share the smile with other person. And this is literally a metaphor for being who you truly are, because by becoming who you truly are, by sharing your uniqueness, even if it's messy, even if it's weird, even if it's crazy, you inspire people that have the spark within them, and they just need to saw a person like you that is trying to be unique, and they got inspired, and they got the spark within them, and the fire started. And so now you have another person burning for their lives, burning with authenticity, with desire, and ready to just go out in the world and do the same for other people. And this is basically what we need to achieve, to inspire worldwide. I have spoken. And so be too much. Be too much for someone. Because for someone you are even too much when you're already dimming your light. So you might as well be too much. Absolutely. Absolutely 100 yourself muchness and offer it to the world. And those who will refuse, good. It's a filtering system. And those who are destined to be inspired by you, or who are destined to be your friends, who are destined to be your person in your life, that you want to keep them, those are the people that are really for life, because they have recognized you as you are, and therefore there is no fakeness, there is no mask, and there is no costume wearing around, because you understand each other, because you also become super magnetic by just letting yourself be you. And so be yourself, because we're waiting for you, not for your edited self, for your full 100% unique, much too extra self. And that's how you can serve the world the best.